Big Z Reviews. Wandavision is the first in this new line of MCU TV shows premiering on Disney Plus, where it is kind of a movie quality and it is officially part of the universe, what happens in these stories, when some of the other stuff is questionable whether it is or not. But I, as a fan of the MCU, I really enjoyed it.
So what's a single gal like you doing rattling around this big house?
Well, I assure you, I'm married to a man, a human one.
Wanda.
We just don't know what to expect.
So I watched this show like every week when it came out. And then I waited a week and then I rewatched it all again in like 2 days. And I loved it both times, but definitely have different thoughts about it after my second viewing. Because this show, it is very much based on that weekly episode, because it is designed to get people talking. I mean, I don't know how many different YouTube channels and websites, made a lot of money talking about, what may be going on and all different Easter eggs and what's actually happening. And there's also the discourse, online, as long as you, I know it sucked because it releases at midnight on the West Coast in America, but it's like 3 o'clock on the East Coast. So we had to wait till the next night to watch it. So you couldn't go on Twitter until then, just in case you didn't want to be any chance of being spoiled. But I haven't seen that kind of discourse about anything really since the last Marvel movies and since the Game of Thrones for something that's like TV. And I like that. But so many times when stuff releases on streaming, I like binging it, but at the same time, you can't, it's tough to talk about it with anyone because since they're always there, everyone's watching it at different times. But with WandaVision, everyone's watching it Thursday night or Friday or Saturday or at latest probably Sunday if they're keeping up with it. And it's great, but at the same time, I'm not going to do spoilers until maybe at the very end I'll warn you, but there's definitely, each episode is designed to be talked about. And watching it straight through is interesting because a lot of the stuff doesn't do anything with it. There's a couple times, there's a lot of stuff where ooh, I wonder if Mephisto's in charge of all this. There's a couple of hints, maybe. And there's a reveal of a former character and then something from a different universe of Marvel, and everyone's like, oh, they're bringing in the multiverse, oh, that's so cool, and it's maybe they don't do that, and then they a lot of stuff, a lot of things that they hinted at, they hint at one time, oh, I know an astrophysicist that could do this, and they're oh, Reed Richards, are they introducing the Fantastic Four? No, just some random person that brings the Mars sort of rover in to get into the bubble. And it's there's still there's nothing big in the show, other than Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, other than her progression as a character. In the big scheme of things, nothing really happens. Because there's, and I guess, what do you really expect? But you're not going to change how everything works in the TV show, but at the same time, they did hints of it. There's a lot of fan service, but it's so you can't blame people for thinking about some of this stuff. But in the end, a lot of it was just fan service. Didn't actually have any point. But the actual show is really good. I love if I kind of each. The main shows follows a decade of television sitcom, and I will say the first 2 episodes are just straight up they're redoing the some of those old 50s and 60s TV shows, and it's really cool. But at the same time, Like, if it didn't have the Marvel name attached to it, no one would have done that. Because, like, I wasn't sure about it until, like, the third episode when it was revealed what's going on outside, you know. And then it's like, okay, then I'm hooked, then I'm in. You know, but it's interesting. I like, though, that they tried to do something different. And a lot of this show was, like, about grief. You know, Wanda, if it's the thing, I don't know if I would recommend this show to people that haven't watched the MCU. But at the same time, I mean, you could watch it. You just wouldn't know what a lot of it means. All you have to know is that Elizabeth Olsen is a witch, and her boyfriend, her love interest, was the robot that was killed in the previous movies. And that's kind of all you really need to know. You know, other than there's a little bit maybe that the previous there was a snap and half of the universe was killed, but then brought back. But like, I think people could still enjoy it, especially if you're a fan of a lot of these older sitcoms and maybe a lot of things that kind of bring back memories and is, you know, heartwarming, or then a lot of sad stuff too. But it's a lot of interesting stuff here. But as a Marvel fan, if you're a fan of the MCU, there's a lot here to love. And I mean, there's at a certain point, it does, like, the last episode is just like a straight up, you know, 30-minute Marvel movie with a lot of, you know, sky beams and a lot of CGI dummies, like, flying around battling each other. But this stuff's still awesome, you know? And it still has some heartfelt stuff within it. And that's after a lot of things that's very not the normal MCU movie. And so I give a lot of credit to the developer of the show. And, you know, Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany are great. And also Catherine Hahn is excellent. She's like the nosy neighbor. And there's this a lot, and I also like Tanoia Paris. She's like as the daughter of the Captain Marvel's best friend, and Monica Rambeau, and like this, she's had some history of her character, has some superhero stuff with it. I kind of like what they did with it, but like a lot of the show is great, and you know, I like that they're bringing in the more magic things. Because, like, in the actual comics, there's a lot of magic in the world. And they did a little bit with the Sorcerer Supreme. But, like, and before, a lot of Elizabeth Olsen's, you know, Wanda's powers were like, whoo, whoo, whoo. You know, it's just kind of hand-wavy sort of things. And then they kind of go into the source of her powers and what's going on with her. And, you know, that's cool because, you know, in the comics, the Scarlet Witch is one of the most powerful characters in the whole comics. Like, a lot of times, whenever Marvel wants to rewrite stuff or do something completely new, like, she's one of the characters they'll have that'll, like, change everything. So I really enjoyed kind of seeing her come into her powers. And also, you also get a look into her backstory. And, I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff here. Like, I mean, there's not that much to complain about. I mean, it's thoroughly enjoyable. Like I said, definitely though, it's a very different experience watching it, you know, once a week as they come out. Because they're short episodes. They're like, most of them are like under 30 minutes. So there's not much there. Like, I want more. But at the same time, it makes it better when it actually happens. But like, you have the anticipation, you know. But you can burn right through them. Like, there's not that much there. It's like a long movie, you know, with like not even like 5 hours, something like that. Like, so it's like it's interesting because I liked both viewing experiences, but I was definitely more enveloped in the first one. But I still just watching it again, it still really held up. And I would give it like a 9 out of 10. I would definitely recommend it, especially if you're a fan of the whole long, like, however many movies there have been series of MCU. Like, you need to watch this. Because, I mean, it should play pretty important for whatever is going on in the next, Doctor Strange film. You know, but so it is... I definitely recommend it. So thanks for watching, and you can subscribe to me down below, and maybe see you next time.